Hey, sup? Welcome back to Power Trip Gaming Retrospective.
What's this about the Alabama Hot Pocket?
I'm trying to do a normal intro for once. Notice I didn't... All you hot mamas out there.
Hey, this is Paul. He's Andy. And this is Power Trip Gaming Retrospective, where we talk about old video games and the review that we have of them.
I don't know if they're going to hear that.
Yeah, they'll hear it. Yeah.
Yes! Alright, this is getting weird. Because I don't know if you're trying to turn...
It ain't getting weird for me.
I don't know if you're trying to turn me on or if you're trying to turn them on.
I'm trying to turn them on. You're just a byproduct.
Oh, thanks. I'm your baby.
So, you like what you see? You want more?
Show him a nip. No, don't show him a nip.
No, okay.
Yeah, welcome back to Power Trip Gaming Retrospective.
Welcome back.
We are doing...
an iconic game on the system, so that was a very appropriate entry, or opening that we did.
I don't know. Well, I was trying not to do the whoosh, whoosh, because you've done that for almost every Castlevania fucking game, is the whip. Whoosh, whoosh. Castlevania!
We're doing Castlevania.
The original
Castlevania. The
original
Castle. What?
Castlevania.
Oh, thank you.
Symphony of the fucking Night. No.
The predecessor to Symphony of the Night. But yes, this is the one.
Few.
This is the one that started it all in 1987.
Oh yes.
Konami. This was their first soiree into the kind of the horror genre, I would say almost.
Yeah, I would say so.
And man, they came out swinging.
Woo!
And wow.
Haven't stopped to this day.
They haven't. Yeah, they haven't
Sort
stopped.
of. Well, there hasn't been a Castlevania game in a long time.
Well, Konami is also kind of a shell of their former self too. So.
That's true. They're not nearly the powerhouse they used to be.
Yeah.
But
so
there you go. Castlevania.
So yeah, the game came out in 1987. It was both developed and published by Konami. Konami was a big enough company at that point where they had their own developers, but they were big enough to publish their own games as well. The game has 6 levels. You start off the game with 3 lives. You have unlimited continues, which you will need from the get-go.
Yeah, this is a rough one.
This is a tough game.
Yep.
And my difficulty's gonna show it.
So you get a slew of sub-weapons if you don't know what this game is.
Yep.
You get dagger, axe, holy water, boomerang. I think there's one more. No.
No.
I think that's it.
No, not in this one.
So you get some sub-weapons, you get a whip with 3 upgrades. I hate it. I think the upgrade system was stupid. But we'll get into that. Your jumping is very stilted.
It is very stilted.
Knockback, well, I suppose we're kind of delving into it. So we'll move on we'll start off with our difficulty. Paul, what do you give it for difficulty?
You may not agree with me on this.
I probably will not.
I give it an 8 for difficulty.
Okay. That's a stretch.
I give it an 8.
I went with a 7. This game is very fucking rough.
This game is unforgiving.
Ooh, yes.
And the first 4 levels, well, actually no, the first 3 levels, they're not terribly difficult, but they're still threatening in the sense that with some of the mechanics of the game, you can easily find yourself in one of the numbers of endless chasms that you will die in.
Yeah.
But then level 4, the difficulty starts to really ramp up.
Oh, does it?
Level 5, the final corridor of level 5 leading into death, who in and of himself is super, super hard. But that corridor is just damn near impossible.
It's quite a gauntlet.
And then level 6, from start to finish, and then having to do both the Dracula form, or the human form, I guess, of Dracula, and then the monstrous form of Dracula afterwards. It's
brutal.
It is brutal. This is, anytime somebody says that, is it Nintendo hard, this is one of those games that really defined that term, Nintendo hard.
Yes.
It gave you unlimited continues, but you damn well had to, you needed a lot of continues in order to make your way through this game.
I feel like the unlimited continues is why I gave it a 7. Well, I mean, it is definitely 8 difficulty, but I would say Actually, if it had limited continues, this would almost
It would be a
like
10.
This
I
would
don't know if a 9 or 10.
It would definitely be a 9 or a 10,
Yeah.
but it would be up there. But I feel like even it's forgiving in the fact that when you get to Dracula, you're at Dracula. Period.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through the stage again. Whereas Death, you had to go through that stage again when you continued.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like it was a 7. But I mean, you're right. The knockback is horrendous. This is almost where I feel like knockback kind of started.
It really did,
because there weren't
actually.
many games that had a knockback quite like this.
Ninja Gaiden didn't do it for another 2 years when they
Nope.
came out in 1989.
The knockback, I mean, sent you fucking flying. Whether you were in the air, whether you were stationary. The only time you didn't get knocked back is when you were on a staircase.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's rough.
Or if you got hit while you were ducking, I think you didn't take knockback. I'm pretty sure. Or did they start that in Super Castlevania? Because I know Super Castlevania, if you were ducking, you didn't get.
That's a
knockback.
good question, actually. I don't really know.
Castlevania may have been the same way. But
That's
anyways,
something to look up.
I
But,
digress.
yeah, I mean, the knockback is perilous because the pits you have to cross. Of course, they plant enemies in the perfect spot.
Exactly. They know exactly where they're putting those enemies and where they put that pit, that bottomless pit. They know exactly what they're doing. So
Yeah.
damn you, Konami.
Well, that's a lot of the Nintendo era. Is
Yeah.
they knew where you had to, where the enemies had to be to piss you off. But I mean, the bosses themselves are fairly difficult. I mean, the only ones that really aren't would be the mummies of level 3.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of cheese it a little bit.
Yeah, by getting up to that platform.
Yeah, and then using either holy water.
Or just your whip.
Yeah,
Ducking
or
and
just the
whipping.
whip.
Yeah.
But otherwise, even the first boss, I mean, if you're careless, he can whoop your ass.
Yeah, you can die on that one.
And that's why I feel like this game deserves a 7. Almost an 8. I would say it's a high 7. Because this is one of those games, like you said, you can, from start to finish, you're kind of on edge. You can't really play this, like, balls to the wall, kind of, no care in the world.
You gotta be careful.
Even level 1 can kind of fuck you up if
Yeah.
you're not paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And especially level 2, with the stomper things that kill you in one fucking hit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's definitely no shortage of instant deaths in Castlevania.
Yeah.
But,
And
yeah,
the
the
reason-
limited continues is definitely where it kind
and-
of redeems itself.
Well, and the reason I still give it an 8, though, is because even with the unlimited continues, when I was a kid and when I was growing up, it didn't matter if I had unlimited continues or not. I couldn't beat this game. I could only make it to level 5, and I think I made it to death maybe once or twice when I was younger.
Death is a nightmare.
Yeah, he is. I mean, so even though you have the unlimited continues, that doesn't guarantee that you're ever going to beat this game.
That's true.
So that's why I feel like, yeah, it's forgiving that they give you the unlimited continues, but at the same time, it's not going to help you beat the game if you don't make it to like past level 5, or if you don't make it to Dracula, so that's where you continue. It doesn't matter, because then you're just not going to beat the game, even if you have the continues.
Even just getting a Dracula is a fucking nightmare.
It certainly is.
What a disaster.
It certainly is. So I'm sticking by my 8. I don't know if I've convinced you otherwise, but I think that this game, it literally, I mean what I said when people talk about Nintendo hard and stuff like that. This is one of those games that was really the trendsetter for that Nintendo hard saying.
Yeah.
It really was. Wow, don't look so painful.
See, I feel like we've given 8s to some games that are, like, hard. I don't know if I would necessarily put that in that same realm as those. But
I think it deserves to be up there.
think so.
think
It's
it
definitely
deserves to be up there.
definitely no lower than a 7,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this game is rough,
Mm-hmm.
but damn, I'll get back to it. I might change it.
I think I convinced him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I'm trying to take the game as a whole, and I'm trying to think of the other bosses, like Frankenstein, or
So you've
the
So you got the bat.
you got the bat.
In the first level. In the second level, it is
Medusa.
Medusa.
Joke.
Yeah. So she's a joke. 3 is the mummies. 4 is Frankenstein and Igor.
He was actually kind of rough too.
Yes, he
wasn't
was. He was, especially if you didn't know to go into the back corner and stuff like that. Which actually, Igor and the fireballs can still get you back there too. So you're still not even safe there.
And you can't kill Igor. You can only stun
Nope,
him.
you can only stun him. I don't think he can die.
And then just getting back to Igor, because you got to fight the bone snakes.
Yes.
Damn, you know what? The more I think about it, even just getting to Dracula, you fight...
And the fleamen that fly up, too, in the lead up to in level 4, that first stretch.
Getting to Dracula involves you crossing that big-ass bridge with the pits, with the boss bats from level 1.
4 of them.
Ooh.
I think it's like 3 or 4 of them. Yeah.
Just, you know what? Yeah. After thinking about it, it is an 8.
This game is brutal.
This is an 8.
It is brutal. Levels 1 through 3, yeah, you may be able to kind of work your way through, but then 4, 5, and 6, it takes that difficulty and it cranks it up to 11.
You're right. It's an 8.
So
it's definitely an 8. So we'll move on to fun. Here, I think we might differentiate, but we'll see. Me personally, I like other Castlevanias better. I feel like Castlevania 3 is better than this. So, honestly, but it's still, like, this is a crown jewel in someone's cap of being able to beat this.
yeah.
So, or in their crown, I guess. You don't put jewels in caps. But I give this game, like, a 6. It's just above middle of the road, but the knockback's so fucking annoying, and moving is a pain in the ass. You really are limited in what you can do. So it's like, I honestly feel like it's more frustrating than it is fun. So I give it a 6.
I gave this game a 7 for the fun. So I think we were close in the realm of it. But I really think that, yes, the reason why it isn't higher to me is because of the frustration factor.
Yeah.
The knockback.
That's exactly why
it is kind of a unique aspect of the game that they threw in there. It ends up causing so much frustration. The stilted jumping and the controls are tight, but it's like the way that your character controls, especially in the air, is really just it's tough. It can be tough.
Yeah.
But when it boils down to it, the music is just top notch. The soundtrack does not get better than what literally, this was their first soiree into the Castlevania series, and they ended up having so many just great songs in the game that a lot of them became like melded staples in the Castlevania lore and staples in the Castlevania soundtrack.
I mean, the first level alone has been replayed in so many subsequent games.
So many.
You're right. It's the soundtrack really is like. I mean, even just the descent to Dracula, the Dracula fight music, that staircase up has been in almost every single one. So yeah.
So the music,
you're definitely right.
The music is absolutely phenomenal. Start to finish, every track of this game was absolutely fantastic.
Graphics are good.
The graphics. This was 1987. The graphics were phenomenal. The
John Elway's quarterback
came out in the same year. Yeah.
Sorry, little side note there.
So yeah. So the graphics were absolutely wonderful. The atmosphere, the style of it. I mean, you went from what looked like haunted mansions to the catacombs and the caves to prisons to I don't think that there was any kind of clock tower, but like you went up through like a stone prison and stuff like that. And like 4, it was kind of like that. No, it really wasn't.
Level 2 was no. There were no levels with like a spinny wheel, was there?
No, there wasn't. That wasn't until 3.
That was right.
Until 3. And there was actually the clock tower in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even like the corridor, the final corridor leading to death, the ascent to Dracula as well too. I mean, the atmosphere of the game was just absolutely amazing. And to think that this game only came out 2 years after the release of the Nintendo in America, I can't believe what they did from the start. There was a lot of there was a wide variety of enemies that you got to fight. The bosses were actually really cool and very everything that you would expect in a horror game. You had death, you had Dracula, you had a
mummies,
man-eating bat, you had mummies, you had Frankenstein's monster. I mean, you had so many different cool enemies. Nothing ever felt the same. Nothing ever felt repetitive. with exception to having to replay levels over and over and over again because you are going to be dying a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with that being said, I think the only weak link of this game is the frustration factor and that the controls, and really, and I think that this is why Castlevania 3 is going to get higher than this in my opinion, because they took basically everything that was great from the first one and expounded on it.
Yeah.
And so that's, but I think that Castlevania 1 in its own right was fantastic, and I don't think it deserves less than a 7.
No.
I don't think it deserves anything more than a 7.
Yeah.
But I feel very strongly about where it's at 7.
I'm sticking with a 6.
Because there's so much, it's so iconic as a game as a whole, that this is where the legend of Simon Belmondo started.
Shimon
Belmondo.
Yeah, like I said, my gripes with the controls, the knockback, and the one thing I've never understood of Castlevanias is, alright, especially with these more so arcade ones than the, like, Metroidvanias, I don't understand the point of powering up the whip. Because no matter what, that first candle you destroy is always an upgrade. No matter what. Then, the third or fourth is always the next upgrade.
Well, it's actually, there's only two upgrades.
No, well, you always get stuff in between it.
You start with the first one.
Leather whip. That first candle you destroy is your second upgrade.
Your
first upgrade.
Yeah, your first upgrade, and then you get a second upgrade. And that's
usually a few candles ahead.
A few candles ahead, yeah.
That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
So
gotcha.
It's like, I never understood, and, like, the leather whip and even the first whip are so utterly useless.
Yeah.
Your baseline for attacking is the final whip.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that they stuck with that formula for so many following games.
Yeah.
Because it didn't make any sense. If that first candle is always your next upgrade, what's the point? And then every time you continue, but like if you're continuing at a boss, like Dracula, you're always gonna have your final whip. Mm-hmm. It never failed. So what was the point of even doing it? Why wouldn't you just start with that final
whip? Yeah.
That's
a good point.
It made sense, I guess, in the first one because they were still toying around with it.
Mm-hmm.
But like past even 3, like what was the point? Super Castlevania 4, they should have just done away with the whole whip upgrade thing. Even Bloodlines does the whip upgrade thing.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, they stuck with it for a while.
That kind of irritated me because now you're just missing out on either hearts or sub items or something else that like even just getting the 2 times or the 3 times sub item use.
Yeah.
You're missing out on it because you have to get the stupid fucking whip.
Mm-hmm.
So it just that kind of always irritated me about this series, and yeah.
No, that's
There hasn't been an actual Castlevania in quite a while, like this style.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't really say that they continue to do it to this day because they haven't done one of this in a long time.
No.
I mean, what was the latest one? Would have been Lords of Shadow 2.
And that followed Lords of Shadow, which was more of like a God of War meets Castlevania lore in history.
Hell, I think even the PS2 ones didn't even do that because they were equipment based. They functioned like Symphony of the Nights.
Yeah.
So it was more of a Metroidvania. So, although the 64 ones did upgrades, didn't they?
You know what? Honestly, I can't remember because I played those so long ago, and well, the first one, anyways. And I didn't like it.
But yeah, to me, like, this game is good. It definitely deserves its place in just gaming history. It definitely does.
Yeah.
Just like Legend of Zelda, just like, I mean, Symphony of the Night does.
It came out at a time where there were so many iconic games that were coming out around that time. You had Metroid in 1986, you had Castlevania in 87, you had Contra, and you had Legend of Zelda in 87 as well too.
Yeah.
You had Contra in 88. I mean, there were so many good games that were coming out, and this is one of those forefathers of just gaming history, really.
Yeah.
So.
But I still.
I know.
I'll go with you on the difficulty on the 8.
Yeah.
But as far as fun goes, I would rather play 3. I'll be honest.
Sure. Oh, sure.
3 definitely steps up, especially with the fact that you can switch between characters and there were different paths you could take. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
This one was good, and it definitely deserves its acclaim, but it still was. It's more frustrating than fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to stick with a 6.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So we'll move on to, is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
What did you pay for Castlevania?
So for Castlevania
1.
Okay, so I remember I bought this at GameStop when, back in like 2003, when they originally were selling old retro games, and I paid $9.99 for this game. I think. No, I didn't. I paid. It was like 6. No.
Holy shit! You're really having a hard time with this.
I am, because I remember that Castlevania 1 was more than 2.
Yes.
And 2, I think they used to sell for $4.99.
But it's definitely cheaper than 3.
But it was cheaper than 3. So 3 was probably $9.99. This was $7.99. I think I paid $7.99 for it.
All right.
So
what does it go for? I don't remember.
What does it go for? So according to price charting, this game goes for $15.91. Now, I think that price is probably indicative of the fact that there are a lot of copies of Castlevania out there. This was a million seller multiple times over. That's awesome. What are you doing?
Yeah, there's a lot of these. Not only is there a lot of these, there's a lot of fucking ways to play this.
Yes, there is. They have re-released this game on so many different outlets. I mean, you've got the e-store on for the 3DS. You've got the Wii Virtual Console had it as well. The Wii U Virtual Console had it as well too.
It's on the NES Classic.
It's on the NES Classic Edition. I mean, they've released this game on so many different platforms too.
Yeah.
But yeah, $15.91. So is it worth it?
Definitely.
I was gonna say
there's no question
about it. It is definitely worth it. You're gonna get a challenge.
Definitely.
You're gonna get frustrated from this game, but honestly, it is such a great atmospheric game. The soundtrack is just classic Konami. That was just absolutely brilliant from start to finish. I loved every single song in this game. It only added to the allure of the game itself, and it was just an absolutely fantastic game that was really early on, but it really set the standard for the iconic Castlevania franchise.
I mean, it's a powerhouse. There's no other way to define it.
No.
I mean, even it spawned, it eventually turned into the Metroidvania series, which is, or the genre, which is, I mean, how do you give birth to a whole genre? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's hard. Damn, man, this fucking game. It's an icon.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know, I'm distracted by stuff. It is an icon. $15, honestly, is a steal for this title, or this kind of a game.
Yeah,
it really is.
Absolutely.
You'd spend that on anything on a virtual console or like a PSN
Network or the Xbox Live. Yeah.
I mean, indie games that come out that copy this are $15.
Yeah.
You might as well play the progenitor of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 100% worth it.
Yeah, definitely worth it.
So there you go. 8 difficulty. 6
to a 7 for the fun, and it is definitely worth it. This game should be in your collection if it's not.
Yes.
There is no excuse because this game is not rare at all. It is very common.
I would say you could pick up damn near any copy or any game of the Castlevania franchise, and with the exception of Castlevania 64, and walk away happy.
Yes,
like
that is
really,
true.
You're hard pressed to find a Castlevania game that's not good.
Yeah,
it really is
very, very true.
Castlevania, and which is why I'm so surprised Castlevania still doesn't do more. Same like Mega Man. It's an IP that is so fucking underutilized, it's almost criminal. Which is why I'm surprised that Richter and Simon and like Alucard are in the new Smash Brothers.
New Smash Bros.
There's gotta be a reason they're in it. There really has to be. I feel like they're making a comeback.
Maybe you want there to be.
Maybe. I really feel like it's gotta be something to it.
Maybe they're coming back in pachinko form.
It's Simon Belmondo in ball form.
Yes, because
wouldn't that be a disappointment?
Because that's what Konami is going to do. They're going to invest in pachinko machines.
Not PT, clearly. Not Silent Hills.
Oh yeah.
Just
You just had to.
Yeah.
You had to open that wound.
It just breaks my heart when companies do not utilize what they have. Look at Metroid. I mean, they just recently announced Metroid Prime 4, which I'm excited for. I love the Prime series. I still wish they would do a Metroid 5.
Yeah.
I mean, Metroid Fusion ended, it was the last one they did on GBA. What the fuck?
Yeah.
How many generations of consoles have passed? Make a Metroid 5. Go back to the side scroll. That should be amazing.
Yeah.
Other M was fantastic. I liked it, even though a lot of people didn't.
I was going to say, people were very divisive about that.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, because it was a solid game for what it was.
Yeah.
But a Metroid 5 would be... I think that would fucking blow people's minds.
It might, yeah.
Who knows, man? Time will tell.
It will.
So hit us up on Facebook.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Go to powertripgaming.tv. It will take you to the channel. I promise you it will.
And I promise you. And watch our playthrough of Castlevania. So that is actually the first time that I, myself, with Andy's help, of course, have ever beaten Castlevania. So I am definitely very proud of that. So please check out our playthrough of Castlevania.
Absolutely.
Because that was amazing. And Andy beat death without getting touched.
I made it my bitch. Did you mention the link in the description takes you to it?
The link in the description right down there will take you right to that playthrough. So check it out.
Right to the playlist.
Right to the playlist.
Watch it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And if you're not subscribed to us, remember to click
that
subscribe
button.
That's right.
Absolutely. We need subscribers.
Hit the little bell notification too, so that you can then find out whenever we are posting new videos, which we are constantly doing for our NES quest that we are on to beat all the licensed NES games. We're doing our retrospectives of the games that we played, and we do our side quests where we play games that are not necessarily Nintendo or part of our main quest.
It's true. As well as some maybe future projects coming up in the pipe works.
Future projects are good.
Future projects. I want to suck your blood. Next time, about your gaming retrospect. I couldn't do it.
We'll bite something better.
We'll bite something better. I love it. That was good, man. I love it. See, you're falling into my trap.
Stupid.
Aw, come on
This
now.
is stupid. Why?
Because I went like this for some reason.
Because what?
Because for some reason I went like this. Because I imagine vampires.
Next time on Power Game Retrospective.
We'll retain something. I like that. We'll bite something.
bite
That was
something
fucking
back.
funny, man. Good job.
I tried to carry your weight because you made a mistake in how you were signing off on that game, and I tried to cover for it.
It makes up for the millions of times I've done excellent openings, only for you to drop it.
Because they suck.
People like them.
I'm sure they don't.
Only
sure
it's really only me. I love the openings, and it makes me laugh every time, man.
Yeah.
Hey! Whoa! DuckTales! Fuck! Or whatever. What was that opening to DuckTales? I fucking love it. It makes me laugh every time. I can't stop. I won't stop.
Yeah!
Man, it's the only way I can hype myself up to keep living.
Wow, that got really dark.
Oops.